up, peeps? Emerald signing in. I thought I'd make this quick video. I received a question in one of the comment sections. I forgot who it was, but I have to go back and look at the comments. But I remember I told him to kind of stay tuned. I'll make a video about it. But he asked about some of the resources and, to start with, if you're a beginner trying to learn some things about, the things that I teach on, and kind of show, kind of pretty much show. I don't know, I tried, something about me saying teacher or whatever. I'm not a teacher. I don't see that as me as such. I like to share information. But anyway, and he wanted me to also share some of my experiences as well. Like, some of the things to look out for, I guess, But I started off this journey, if you don't know my story, some people don't know my story. Most of y'all do, if you heard my name on the internet, you know my story. My son was taken back in September 2026, and I have a son. His name's Michael Jace Roseman. Born in 2016. He was only 3 months old when his mom took him from the babysitter, took him from me, and just decided to just keep him hidden from me. And that's what I've been going through for the last 6 years, actually. So he'll be today's May the 1st. So he'll be turning 7 years old next month. And of course, I've gone through a whole lot of health conditions concerning that. You couldn't look at me and know that I've actually gone through the health conditions I've been through. I'm not gonna get off into the woe is me part of it. But of course, I was in a dark place, very dark place. I was already studying law before he was born, but I wasn't as knowledgeable as I am now. I think it kind of went to another level when my son was taken, because a child support case came right in there, right? The same month she took him. And so here I was fighting the case, learning everything that I could possibly learn to try to beat the case and get my son back, because she took him the week before the case actually started. And the case started on the 13th of September 2016. She took him the week prior. So here I was racing against time, trying to, hopefully I could get an order, some type of judgment, and, where the judge would actually give 50-50, so that it would be fair, so that my son, I have both father and mother in his life, and she wouldn't be able to bully me, which is what she was doing. The reason she couldn't bully me, so that's the reason she got the courts involved. And so here I was studying like a crash course, sort of like a crash course. Just learning all I could learn. I was cramming all types of information. I was running to all the blog talk radios, Hindsight Radio. I was listening to the Yusuf Els, the Jonah Bays, the Dwight Bay, Akeem L, you named it. I was listening to all kind of people. Rick W. What's the guy's name? Amin Osiris. I listen to all types. I would listen to everybody on there. Rick, what's his name? What's that guy's name? He's still on there. I was listening to a variety of people, okay? It was a variety of people. And I was studying and listening to people, studying and listening to people, trying different processes, I knew about the straw man, so I knew not to allow them to address me as the straw man. Back then is what I called it, the straw man, the all caps name, and I knew that. That's the basics of what I did know. And I knew anything I didn't agree to, I had to respond to it. I did know that. A week prior to that situation, my son's mom's mom, my son's grandmother, tried to see if she can have a charge put on me the week before before the case started too. It got thrown out. So that was a crash. That was a fail on their behalf as well. So But anyway, me racing against time with this child support case, it went on for months. It started in September 2016, and it went on and on and on. I'm talking about every time I got in a damn car. Every time I got in my car to go to the mailbox, to go and look in that mailbox, and I saw Superior Court on there, something that her attorney was sending me, it vexed my spirit, I swear to the core. It stressed the hell out of me. Because I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know what he was saying. In the beginning, I was very emotional dealing with the situation. Just imagine on a Friday, you go open up that mailbox and you see Superior Court, you know, whatever, you know, the attorney, the law office or whatever, you know, addressing you with some more bullshit. And a lot of times they were making empty accusations that had nothing to do with the case. But those were things that I didn't know that they would use. Those were things that they were using to actually get my attention, to get me to cause me to not be focused on what they're really doing and get me caught up with explaining myself, explaining how much of a good dad I am, and that fact she lying, that ain't what happened, this ain't happened, you know, all this old stuff that had absolutely nothing to do with the case. You get your I was very argumentative in my paperwork, and I had to learn through my experience that arguing in your paperwork is not going to get you nowhere. Like I had some lengthy ass paperwork too, you know. I had some lengthy paperwork. You know, a lot of times I remember even Jonah Bay, I even drove to North Carolina from Georgia to one of his seminars. Him and Akeem El were together at that time. And I drove there to one of the seminars to try to, you know, participate in one of those 2-day seminars they had there. And I didn't receive no remedy there. You know, I thought it would be worth it. They, you know, stayed there for 2 days trying to get information. I was doing everything. It was one guy, he called himself Yeshua. He was called himself Yeshua. I have no idea what this dude looked like. But I met him on the internet, and I paid over $10,000 worth of consultations talking to this guy. He charged $100 an hour. And I would pay for 2 hours at a time. At that time, I was making $6,000 a month because I had a commercial cleaning business. And I was working for myself, you know, just kind of making pretty good money. So I was able to pay for that. And I used to do that sometime twice a week. So that'd be like $400 in a week on consultations. And he was really fleecing the hell out of me. In case I didn't learn anything, but for the most part, I didn't learn anything. I didn't learn remedy. I didn't learn a lot of remedy. I got a lot of lecture. But, you know, and that was supposed to include him getting an audit on the case. I never received an audit on the case. When I started bringing up the audit, he got to a point where he blocked me and I couldn't reach him. By that time, I spent $10,000. So, you know, but that's not even counting all the other stuff I paid for, you know. I remember reaching out to Armin Osiris, and I spoke to him on the phone. I paid for, I think he had a very reasonable, consultation prices. I think it was like, I forgot how much for 30 minutes. I want to say it might have been maybe $50 for 30 minutes or something like that. It might not have been that much. But I paid for 2 sessions. And at that time, I wasn't trying to fight the child support, because I think at that time it was a wrap with the child support. I beat that part. But I was trying to get my son back. And he was like, we don't specialize in getting, you know, custody cases. We specialize in, you know, in child support. He said, so, you know, I can just refund you, you know, the other session instead of dragging this out. We just, you know, refund it. And he did that. He refunded me the other half, and, you know, and that was it. I moved forward from that. So he did good business with that. He was honest with me. Some people, they'll take your money and have you on the phone and act like they know some shit they don't know just because they don't want to give your money back. But he was an honorable man with that. So he handled that right. Shout out to Armin Osiris for that. I never, so I dealt with a variety of people. Dwight Bay, he actually helped me beat a case too. He helped me beat the case. I'm not gonna put the details of that, but he gave me the right strategy to move, and he, you know, I can't give the details on there, but he did give me the right strategy to get a case thrown out right there on site, and the case lasted every bit of 9 minutes, if that. It was just an accusation that was brought on me. That was by my son's mom's mom. She brought an accusation, really just trying to see if she can get some kind of criminal charge on me that I didn't do. You know, let that be known. I didn't do, but that was the strategy that some people would try to do to try to see if they can. You know, some baby mamas will do that to try to see if they can get, because I have a clean record. You know, I mean, I got a few misdemeanors, nothing major. You know, no violent history, you know, not on record. I done beat a few dudes' asses, but I ain't never actually jumped on a girl. Except for when I punched a white girl in the eye when I was 11 years old. I shouldn't have did that shit. Anyway, but I'll stick it to the topic. Y'all mind your business. I was a kid. But, but, you know, I don't, you know, for the most part, my record is pretty clean. You know, few dismissed cases. That's pretty much it. Maybe a couple, like maybe driving with suspended license, and I got caught with a gun when I was 20 years old. You know, minor shit. Wasn't nothing major. Never sold drugs. Never actually ran with gangs. You know, never did any of that stuff. So I never really been like a street dude. You know, never been. You know. Anyway, but bottom line is, she was trying to see if they can get some type of blemish on my background so they could use that to help the custody case. Because the child support case was also a custody case. Because what she tried to get was sole legal custody, sole physical custody, child support, and to change my son's name. This is after I'm starting to have health conditions. So they went back and amended the petition right after I had the following month after I had the health condition concerning all this stress, related to all this stress. The following month, she went and had the last amendment, the amendment of the petition to have the thing changed to have my son's last name changed to her last name. So these are all these requests she's asking for, and it will make me wonder if there was any morality connected to these court cases. They will ask, why would you even request something like that? Why do you want your child's father to not have any legal rights? Why you want me to grant you, give you sole legal and physical custody of this child when there's no record of him doing anything wrong? Not a child molester, don't have no abusive past. He never put your life in danger. The child's life in danger. He's not, he's not living a gangster lifestyle and then like that. Why would you request this? But they didn't ask that. It was a feminist white lady too. Her name was what was her name? Maureen Godfrey, right there in Muskogee County. Even her co-workers say she was the meanest Superior Court judge they have in the county. Her co-workers even said that, and she was mean as hell. I even played this audio. It was an audio that I played in the courtroom to the judge. We'll pause this video and find that audio. Okay, I found it. This audio actually took place, I think it was like maybe a couple weeks before she actually pulled the stunt she pulled. There was a moment where my son, I was spending the night, he was spending the night with me. She and I didn't mess around anymore after, the birth of my son. So, we were done. She had, her behavior started to change when she was pregnant with him, and she even made threats to find a stepdaddy while she was pregnant with my son. I'm about to find my son, my baby, a stepdaddy, because you just, she just would make little small debates with me about little small stuff. Like him having my last name, her breastfeeding, I think she was just kind of ashamed with the breastfeeding part because she had little nipples, small nipples. So she was kind of ashamed to really start breastfeeding But she didn't realize it was her first child, so I can understand her feeling like that. But she would undermine everything I would say, as if I don't know what I'm talking about nothing. I'm 9 years older than her now. I'm more experienced with kids than she is. I've been stepdaddy too many damn times, really. But I've even witnessed the birth of a child other than my son. So it's like that's another story for another topic. That was a child that turned out to not be mine, but I didn't want to not be there just in case. But she decided, my son I went to her house apartment one day and picked my son up, and we didn't discuss a particular day, a particular time to bring him back, or if it was, okay to just let him just spend the night with me or whatever. I didn't care. I really wanted to spend time with my son, so I wanted him to spend the night. But she never said, we never brought it up as to what time to bring him back, So I guess she sat back and just watched what I was going to do. And if I didn't do what she automatically thought I should do, to just understand that she's the one that running the shit, that she's the one in charge, then we're going to have a problem. So this is pretty much what happened. She kept my son from me. He spent the night with me one Saturday night. She came that Sunday with an attitude. Came in there, because that Saturday night, I actually texted her phone to see what was going on with her. See where her mind was at, see if she was she okay with it, we on good terms here, because it's like she's hard to read. A lot of times she don't speak what she feels. She just wants you to just automatically know, but I'm not one that sees her as superior to me because she's the mother. I'm like, we are equal here, I'm the father and you're the mother. He needs both of us, and we both got to work together as far as being, raising him. Whether we're a couple or not, we got to work together. That's how I always saw it from day one. But she saw it as her being superior to me, and I was supposed to be subservient to her words. And her behavior showed it, and this audio is going to prove it as well. So I'm going to let you hear this conversation after when she came that Sunday to pick him up, she decided she was just going to pick him up, storm out of the house, didn't say nothing to me, just grabbed my son, put him in the car seat, stormed out. Bad energy. I knew immediately her energy was bad. So I walked out there, followed her out there, and I got in the driver's seat, not the driver's seat, but the passenger side front seat. And I'm like, are we beefing or something? What's going on? You're not, what's going on with you? You beefing? We beefing or something? She said, Mike, if you don't get out of my car, I'm going to call the police. And she said it with a great attitude. So I'm like, I didn't know what was going on, but now it let me know she was really just kind of upset that he spent the night. He spent the night. One night. He spent the night. And so I get out of the car and I went on in the apartment. I called her mom, and her mom pretty much brought it up. Told me pretty much that's what it was. So obviously she had this conversation with her mom. So it's like, she kept my son from me for 3 days. So 3 days she wouldn't open the door. She wouldn't respond to my texts or my calls. And after the third day, I shot her a text the third day, and I'm like, we just gonna have to go to court about this, because I'm not gonna just deal with this, you bullying me when it comes to our son. It's not gonna happen. And so she texted my phone later on that evening and said, you can come see him now. And that's when this conversation took place.
Say what time. We should not have had to discuss
we do.
That.
We do, because the problem is you don't respect me as the father.
You don't respect me as his mother.
No,
in my time that I have to do. I'm on maternity.
We're not going to loud talk. We're gonna talk like grown folks. You don't respect me as his father, so you throw rules at me and you want me to follow them without any question. And that's the problem here. Because you want me to just bring it back, and you want me to read your mind without you saying it. And since I didn't just bring it back, first off, that's the reason why I text you at 12:30 that night, because I'm trying to see where your mind is.
That was wrong. That was wrong.
No.
I felt like you were testing me. You were testing me. You were testing
so about my son. You don't want me to have no words concerning my own son. And that's why we have conflict, because you don't respect me as his father. You don't want me to be his father. You want to be the only person to make any calls concerning Michael Jace Roseman. And that's the wrong thing to do. You feel like I'm being foul, but I feel like you're being wrong for not respecting me as his dad. You want me to be like some little peasant that just gets privileges when you say get privileges. You see him when I want you to see him. That's how you see it. You keep him when I want you to see him.
It's an assumption.
That's what you're saying.
You never heard the words come out of my mouth.
Well, that's what you're saying. Did you just not hear what you said? You said I was testing you.
You were.
Basically meaning I'm trying to make you mad by keeping him out longer. When we didn't even
testing the waters.
No, this is what you're saying. You're saying it indirectly right now. You don't realize that's exactly what you're saying.
You want to be able to have the same privileges that I have with my son. I'm a woman. I'm a woman. I'm a woman.
And does that make you
I'm a
more important than me?
woman. You don't understand this wrong. You want to have the same rights.
Right. I'm the father. Why not?
But it's not the same. It would never be the same. You were born a male. Act accordingly. Act accordingly. Did we not say that when I go back to work, you were going to have him during the day? You were going to see all first everything. You were going to have the majority of the time, but you were trying to violate my time with him. Do you not understand that?
How?
Do you not understand
How?
that?
If I want to take time?
Seriously.
Why? If I want to
You
take
will
time?
have your turn. Your turn is coming, or at least it was before you poured all this stuff. I don't even trust you. I don't trust you with my child now.
You're saying it over
I don't
and
even
over
trust you
that
with him. Do you not understand? I don't even trust you with him now.
You're saying it over and over. You're saying it over and over that you can care less about how I feel about a child.
I've never said that.
You're doing it because what you're doing right now in your words just now ever since we just started, you're throwing your rules out there and you want me to just follow your rules regardless of how I feel.
And so that was like, I was speaking her. What I was doing was interpreting what her heart was saying, regardless of whether she was saying it directly with her words. And she was acting like she wasn't getting what I was trying to say. She's basically like, her mentality was that she's superior to me. I suppose automatically get that she is the one that's in charge. And, and I don't get, and if I don't say it, if she don't give me permission to, I better know automatically that it's not okay. Like that's the behavior she was giving me, the energy, the vibe that I was getting from her. And I just refused to be that. I refuse to be that way with my son's mom, and I refuse to do that when to anybody else. So even I played the same audio to the presiding judge at the time, Maureen Godfrey, and when I finished playing this audio, she like as if the woman had a point, as if she had a point, and I knew right then it was going to be an attempted railroading, So I was stressing the entire time. I thought that would reveal her heart to the court. I thought that would reveal it. But obviously it didn't give a damn when these people in the family court don't give a damn about your kids. They don't care about what's fair for the child. When they use this best interest of the child, quote, interest is the key word. And that's a financial term. Interest. How much money can we make off this situation? And that's what I had to learn in my experience, in my walk, dealing with this situation. They don't give a fuck about what your kids really need, to become a productive, man or woman in society. Someone that's going to actually do society some good, as opposed to, what we're seeing in today's youth nowadays. So they're destroying families. So I had to learn that the hard way. And it took months for me to understand that, and me going through listening to all these different people, different studies. I was studying everything about contract law. I was learning that that's what they're doing, is contract law in there. Contract law. And I heard about trust law during that time, but I didn't know enough about trust law to really get into it. So I didn't really teach about it. I didn't bring it up in my videos. When I started my YouTube channel in 2019, not this channel, but it was a different channel. They shut that channel down in 2020, right at the beginning of the pandemic, in January of the pandemic. I didn't really teach about it. I didn't really teach about it in my videos. When I started my YouTube channel in 2019, not this channel, but it was a different channel. They shut that channel down in 2020, right at the beginning of the pandemic, in January of the pandemic. And so, I heard about trust law during that time, but I didn't know enough about trust law to really get into it. So I didn't really teach about it. I didn't bring it up in my videos. When I started my YouTube channel in 2019, not this channel, but it was a different channel. They shut that channel down in 2020, right at the beginning of the pandemic, in January of the pandemic. And so, I started that channel pretty much just kind of giving my story, telling my story like I am now. But you know, but in that story, that channel took on its own, took on a life of its own when I messed around and mentioned it. I beat the child support case. So, but the key to beating the child support case from the start is really just filing an answer into the court case. You know, filing an answer. I was talking about registering the name and all this different stuff. You know, yeah, you register the name. I think it gives you more leverage, because I eventually did do that and filed it in the court case. But the key to it is really just objecting and standing on your objection. You gotta stand on it. And I would go back and look at that. You put paperwork on. You gotta create records too. I think it's easier to shut them down when you create your records. Create your declarations. Put that stuff on the record. Put it on the county recorder's records. That's evidence that you can use to, you know, to beat a case, to shut a case down. You know, to kill any presumptions, because they operate with presumptions in court cases. And these are the things I had to learn along the way. You know, I didn't know if I was going to live to see 2018, because 2017 was hell for me. Not seeing my son, all these holidays going by. His birthday month is also Father's Day month. And it was always a hard month for me, and it was a lot of stress. Like, many times I cried myself to sleep about it. You know, it's always been a hard month for me anyway. Even now it's a hard month for me. June is. So, me knowing that, you know, this, you know, what they're doing in these courts, I always advise people to study contract law and trust law. Study contract law and trust law when it comes to what they're doing in these court cases, what they're doing in these courts. You know, when it comes to child support specifically, it's contract law. And, you know, it's all about money, though. It's a tax issue. Make sure you implement that video. Look in that video that I was talking about with the power of attorney. You know, you create your trust. They got power of attorneys that they create, that they have to have with the IRS in order to administer your trust on your trust. Not your private trust, but your ins legis trust. The Cesta KV trust. The public trust, because they're trustees. And they're controlling it with the power of attorneys that they're creating with the 2848 form. If you go looking in that thing, and look in my previous video. I found that stuff and I had to make a video about it. I didn't even know that myself till I found it, and I made a video about it right away. But, you know, and you wonder where they get this power from, where they can just make moves on their own like that. You know, they do it for one. You don't file any objection into the court case when you get served. If somebody serves you with a filed child support case, you better respond to it. Don't run from being served, because they'll put the shit in the newspaper. If they put it in the newspaper, that's called service by publication. They will put it in the newspaper. And then you won't even know you got served. That's equivalent to being served if they put it in the newspaper. So that's like the last resort. But they try to serve you specifically first. It's actually cheaper if they serve you as opposed to putting it in the newspaper. So they prefer to give it to you. And when you running from it, they're going to put it in the newspaper. And now you still got served and don't even know it. Then you don't respond to it because you don't know you got served. And then you get a judgment against you because you didn't respond. And so if you get served and you don't respond, that's equivalent to saying it's being in the newspaper and you're not responding. You got to respond with an objection in the court case. You know, you have to put your paperwork in there. And these are things that is contract law. You know, there's a maxim of law. Where's that damn thing at? Not the maxim of law, but there's something, what's that, Matthew 25? Agree with your adversary. Agree with your adversary. That would be Matthew 5, 25 and 26. Okay, if you go look that up, man, I'm not not trying to turn this into a religious thing, but y'all got to realize that the Bible has a lot of law written in it. You know, that's the law of the land. That's the law of the people. So know that this is directly related to what they're doing. Okay, it's organized religion is what they're doing. In a sense, it's actually organized religion. If you look at BibleHub.com and you type that in, Matthew 5:25, And go past the King James the King James version. There are other versions on here that explain that to you so much clearer. And there's one called the let's see, adversary. I'm messing up, but anyway, I don't want to mess up too much. But look in there. If you look on that, look on there, you'll see there are other versions of the Bible, and one of them says reach a settlement quickly while you're on your way to court. So it's like the same thing to do with third-party debt collectors. They serve you first. That's due process. They got to serve you first. And if they're serving you, they're trying to have court with you before y'all make it to the building. And if you don't respond to anything, you know, and they're serving you, and you don't respond, then they can get a default judgment against you. So you already lost once you done got served and you don't respond. I had to learn these things by studying. Just study these things. It's all about basic contract law. Start there. Contract law. Study that. Start with, you know, consumer law deals with credit and transactions when it comes to, you know, your bills and your car notes, you know, all this stuff like that. When it comes to court cases, you know, they're kind of related, but it's not the same thing as it's not the same thing when it comes to dealing with court processes and procedures. So, you know, start with contract law, basic contract law and trust law. The whole world operates on trust law. You know, every business is set up damn near like a trust. Got somebody that created it, got a name of it, got people that run it. Those are the trustees. You got people who benefit from it. You know, if you own the business, if you create a trust, you put that, you know, your trust is created like your business is created like a trust. You're gonna have it where you pass on that business actually goes to the beneficiary, whoever you got as the beneficiary. But most of these businesses operate like trust. But it's kind of very similar. But that's pretty much how it is, you know. That's the best thing I could explain as far as like how to get in there instead of going through all this other stuff. You know, I didn't explain my story to people many times, my experience. It's stressful as hell in the beginning when you don't know, you know. The stress actually comes from, the stress and the fear, it comes from not knowing. This comes from the unknown. The more you study, the more you research, the more you become an information sponge, you know, the things become a lot easier. And you become more courageous because you know what the law says. Well, if you don't know what the law says, then it's easy to stress about it. You don't know what to do. You don't know what to say, what to type up. Those feelings come from you not knowing, you not studying, you're just not having the knowledge as to what to put down. You know, I've been there. And so that's why I can understand why people feel the way they do. But you have to go through that fire in order to come out stronger. You know, I'm a hell of a lot more sound than I was back then. You know, I'm not triggered as easy. I was even bitter. I went through a bitter moment too. I couldn't even date no damn body for real. And I was just in a bitter place. I'm like, fuck all these damn women out here. Fuck them. They full of shit. That was my mentality. I didn't want to, you know, get me a little booty call here and there to help me feel better, because I was going through so much stress. So a good shot of booty here, that made me feel good right about now. But, you know, as far as a relationship, I wasn't studying that shit. So it's like I was going through a bitter moment. It was a lot of stress. But, you know, you have to be willing to stay diligent, keep studying. I also had to go through a second phase of detoxing as well. When it came to a lot of these, I'm going to end this video because this thing is well over 20 minutes. I don't like going that long. But I'm just kind of going, you asked for my experience, so I'm kind of giving you my experience. The thing was, I went through a second phase of detoxing too, because a lot of the people that I named prior early in this video, they were teaching things that they understood at that particular level, at that level in their lives too. And now I understand that some of the stuff was not correct. It was the best of their understanding. And as you continue to grow, they're growing too. I mean, hopefully they've grown too. But they teach according to their level of understanding. And, you know, and some of them were accurate, on point. Some of them were hit and miss, you know, depending on what I got from these people. But you learn from everybody, but you detoxing as you go too, because everybody's learning as they go. And even I'm detoxing from some of the things I even taught back in 2019 on my other channel. Some stuff I don't even teach because I wouldn't do it. It's hit and miss. You know, when you get a better understanding, you become sharper and sharper and sharper. And some of the elementary stuff may work, but at the same time, the sharper you become, the better you become when it comes to moving. And as you build that relationship with those public officials, they start recognizing how you move. Your name become very familiar on their paperwork. Then they'll deal with you differently. So that's all I can tell you right there, man. You know, you go ahead and just start reading, man. Be willing to read. Words that you read, don't think you understand it right off the bat. I have a habit of putting legal definition behind every term I look up. I say person, legal definition. Trust, legal definition. Consumer, legal definition. You know, I put legal definition behind everything I look up. And I like using the Black's Law Dictionary, Bouvier's Law Dictionary. You know, I use those dictionaries to understand the terms. You know, different versions of the dictionaries. I don't stick with the earliest version, because keep in mind, people try to tell you to use it like the 1933 version of the Black's Law Dictionary. I don't advocate for that. I would use it, but I wouldn't use it as the go-to. It's just like when people say King James Version is the best version of the Bible. You don't even understand that damn language. We don't even talk like thou art, thou shall, hitherest. We don't even talk like that. So when somebody explains, you reading something like that, it'd be very confusing when you don't. That's not how we talk. So you need a version that explains what you're reading so you can understand it. But back to the dictionary, the law dictionary, the world is constantly evolving. Just like there's some law dictionary that advocate about slavery, you know, about having slaves and stuff like that. You wouldn't use that and try to use something that's obsolete that's totally illegal now. Back then it was in the law books, slavery, but you won't find it in today's law books because it's not legal. So you got to be mindful about stuff like that. As the world evolves, that's where, you know, these amendments come from too. You can't just automatically think that the amendments come from a way because they're trying to hide something from you. Sometimes they are. But at the same time, the world has changed, and sometimes the rules change. You know, just like, you know, some states abortion is illegal. Some states are not. You know, it's like marijuana is legal in some states. Sometimes some states is not. So the rules change. The statutes and the laws, they change. So they're gonna update them to match how we do things today. So you got to keep that in mind when you're studying these books. Don't be so stuck on the old books and thinking that the new books are just obsolete. You're still gonna have to use them. Use them. Just navigate. Know how to navigate and let your conscience be your guide. That's how I do it anyway. So that's my advice. That's how I could do. That's how I would do it. So, you know, just when you do your studies, be an open book. Be willing to learn that stuff. It'll come to you too. The stuff will come to you. You just got to be willing to learn, and don't be quick to follow people all the damn time. You know, you can watch this video. Yeah, watch it if you want to, but challenge what I say. Don't just see me as I know every damn thing, because I don't know every goddamn thing. Shoot, I don't know everything. It's a lot of shit I don't know. So, but I just work with what I do know. So. And I don't have a problem saying I don't know. But I'll go look it up if I need to know it. Look it up. Be willing to look shit up. I don't give a damn how reputable someone seems online. Look it up. Look up what they got to say. Okay? That way you'll know for sure that it is true because you looked it up and you read it for yourself. So once you've read it for yourself, you know it's it. I'm going to get on out this damn video. Y'all know I can talk about this shit all damn day. So I'm going to get on off of here and hopefully I answered your question. You talked about my experience and where you would start. And I just thought I'd kind of do a combination of what my experience was like. And I'm still going. And this month, I will be making a big move toward my son again. Because I got everything in place that I'm supposed to have in place. And I'm doing the finishing touches right here. I got to go get something notarized, and I'm ready to fight. And so y'all can stay tuned for that as well. So we'll talk to y'all later, and I'll see y'all in the next video. You got anything else you want, anything in particular you want to know? Just comment and let me hear what you got to say in the comment section, and I'll be glad to make a video on it. I want to go live, but I don't want to just go live randomly. I'm kind of a random ass dude, so I don't know. I'll get around to that at some point. Anyway, y'all, M Rose signing out.